In this video, I'm going to show you how to use my matching game generator to generate your own custom matching games in PowerPoint. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to open the matching game generator file. When you open it, there should be a warning that says you need to enable content, or a window might pop up asking if you want to enable content. You need to enable the content or this won't work. If you get a different warning, if you're on a PC, you might get a red security banner over here and it might not allow you to enable content. The reason that happens is because you have downloaded this file from the internet, and so your computer doesn't know if it is from a safe source or not. So there's a quick, easy way of fixing that. So let me just quickly show you what that looks like and how to fix it. So first of all, I'm going to go and take this exact same file and I'm going to upload it to my Google Drive over there, just to show you what it looks like when it's been downloaded from the internet. So I'm going to go over here and download it. And then if I go back here and I open up my downloads folder, you'll see that I've now downloaded that file over there. If I open this file that I just downloaded from the internet, then you'll see over here, first of all, I have this thing that says protected view because it has been downloaded. So I enable editing. And then you'll see that there's a red banner that says security risk, and it doesn't allow me to enable the macros. Okay, now the way that you fix that is you close it and you go back over here, right click on the file, and you go to properties. And at the bottom of properties, you'll see that there's a security thing over here that says the file came from another computer and it might be blocked to help protect this computer. And you just need to click on the unblock checkbox over there. That won't be visible if you didn't get that warning in the first place. The security warning won't be there. But if you got that red banner like that, then you should be able to go and unblock it by just right clicking, going to the properties, and then going and unblocking over here. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then go and open it, and now it has the normal security warning allowing you to enable the content. Okay, so I'm going to just go back and use the one that I was starting with over here. So don't enable the content. Okay, so now this is the new version of the matching game generator. If you have used the old version, you'll see that it has changed quite significantly. You're going to be doing all of your data input on this first slide. Instead of doing it over multiple slides, it all happens on this first slide. The next few slides over here are just for you to do your designing of the actual game, and then you'll go and generate your game. Okay, so on this slide, you will add your content, you will choose your settings, and so on. For any buttons that you need to click or any checkboxes that you need to use, you need to have the slideshow running. So you need to press F5, or you can use this button over here to start the slideshow, and then you can use any buttons that are on the slide. So when you want to create your matching game, the first thing you're going to do is start the slideshow and choose what type of cards you want your game to have. You can choose if you want to have identical cards or if you want to have related cards. If you choose identical cards, they can either be text or pictures with captions. If I keep it on the text option for now, let's just go and have a look at what our input will look like. So this is the table that you will add your text items to. So I'm going to just paste in values that I already copied previously. I'll just make that a bit bigger so you can see what it is. So those are just number names from 0 to 9. And then once I've added my content, I can then go and generate my game cards using this button over here. So I'm going to go and click on that button, and you can see that it's taken those values and it has created cards over here where they are identical to each other. So this is one matching pair, this is another matching pair, and so on. Now these cards are just plain black and white at the moment because I didn't do anything yet to change their appearance. Normally I would do that before I generate the game cards. I just want to show you the input for the different types of cards for now. So I'm just going to undo that quickly and undo that. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and choose pictures. So if I choose pictures, you'll see a button pops up here where you can then add the card pictures. So I'm going to click on that, and it brings up a file selector where I can go and choose, I can find and choose my pictures. So I've got pictures over here that I'm going to be using, and I insert those, and you'll see that they automatically get put into the table over there. And once again, I can then go and generate my cards. Once I've added my content, I can go and generate my game cards like that, and you can see that they get taken and turned into cards like this over here. Okay. Alternatively, I can choose pictures with captions. So let's go and choose that option. Now you'll see with the pictures with captions, I have a new checkbox that appears over here that says autofill captions using file names. I can choose if I want the file names of the pictures to automatically be put in as captions for those pictures, and then I can still edit them as I need to. So if this is selected, then I'm going to go and add my card pictures, and you'll see over here when I add them, it will automatically add the file names that I had for each of those images as captions. Now these are not great file name, or these are not great captions, so I'm not going to use them here. So what I would rather do is I would not use the file names as captions. So I'm going to go and deselect that, and then I'll add those pictures again. And now you can see that the pictures have just been added, but no captions have been added. So I'm going to go and paste in my text that I already copied previously again, and you can see that those captions have now been added. So now when I go and generate my game cards, it will look like this. So you can see I've got all of the numbers and their captions. Okay, so that's what happens when you have identical cards. You can see each pair of matching cards are identical to each other. Okay, now we also have the choice, if I go and undo that, I also have the choice to have related cards. And if I choose related cards, I have more options because you can mix and match. So you can have both text or both pictures or both pictures with captions, or you can have a combination. Okay, so first if I have just text, then when I go over here, you'll see that there are now two tables. One table for the text from the one card. So I could go over here and I can say these are going to be my number names, and then over here I'm going to have the numbers. Okay, so now that I've got the number names and the numbers, and they're both text values, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to generate my cards. Okay, so now once again, like I said, I haven't done anything to change the appearance. So these are all just plain white and black like this. But if I change these before I generate the cards, then the formatting over here will be pulled through when the cards are generated. So this is what it would look like when you have related cards that both have text. So you'll have two cards that are a matching pair, but the text on both of them is different. Okay, so now I'm going to go and choose picture and picture. So now you'll see that there are two buttons that have popped up here. A button for card A and a button for card B. So I'm going to go and click on card A, and now I can go and add in the pictures for card A. So this time I'm using fractions, and I'm just going to go and add all of these. And you'll see that extra rows get added. If you are adding text or something, you can add extra rows and you can add more text. You're not limited in how many items you can use. Okay, so you can just add more rows as you need to. So I've got all of my symbols, the fraction symbols over there. Now I'm going to go and add the pictures for card B. So over here, add card B pictures. I'm going to go and choose these ones over here. And they will all get put into that table over there. Now you can go and check and make sure that these do actually match up. If just in case there was an issue with things not being in the same order in the two folders, you can come and check it. Okay, so over here, if I found that these two were in the wrong order or something, what I can do is I can just move them into the correct cells, and then they will be used how I have done it. So you can rearrange the pictures if you need to make sure that they do match next to each other like this. So whatever's in this cell needs to match whatever's in this cell over here for your matching pair. If they don't match, then you need to rearrange to make sure that they do match. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go and generate my cards. Now this is going to take a little bit longer because it's making a lot more than it was previously. And now you can see it's taken all of those images and has turned them into cards like this. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to go and choose pictures with captions to show you what that looks like. So if I have pictures with captions, once again, I get the option to auto-fill the captions using the file name. So if I choose to select that, let me just show you what happens when I do that. So if I add the card, then I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to do these ones for now. And then you'll see over here that those file names that I had have automatically been put in for the captions of these pictures. And now this time I'm satisfied that these are all going to be good captions for these pictures. So I'm not going to go and change anything, but I could go and change individual ones if I wanted to. If there were problems, I could go and change them if I wanted to. Okay, then for card B, I'm going to go and add the other pictures over here. So I'm going to go to the symbols and add these pictures like that. And once again, it has added the file names as captions because I still had that selected. Okay, so now I'm going to go and generate my game cards. And this is what they look like. Okay. Then I can also choose to have text and pictures as my two cards. So then you only have one button because you're only adding one set of pictures. So if I choose over here to add the numbers that I had previously as my pictures, then I can add the number names as my text on the other cards, and they would be matching the number name with the picture. So then I'm going to go and generate those cards, and this is what it would look like. Okay, then you can do the same thing with text and picture with caption, and with picture and picture with caption. Again, it will just work in exactly the same way. But now I want you to just look over here. I did not remove these cards this time. Okay, I have changed this to text and picture with caption. You can see over here this is changed to text and picture with caption. So I'm going to go and add my card pictures for these pictures with captions over there, and I'm going to add the number names over here, and now I'm going to go and generate my game cards. Now you'll see that I was able to add more cards after these ones that I already added. So if you have already added cards and you realize that you want to add more, you can do that. You can just add more content over here, and then you can generate cards, and they will just be added to the set underneath the ones you've already created. Okay, so you are not limited. Once you've created your first set of cards, you can add extras if you need to. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that. Now you can also create picture and caption with picture as well if you want to. So over here, I'll go and change that. And I'm going to go and add these ones. So I'll put in the symbols like that. And then I'm going to do card B, and this is going to be the diagrams. And this is for the caption pictures, so it's going to use those file names as my captions again. And then when I go and generate those game cards, they will be added underneath the ones that I already created previously. Okay, so those are all the different kinds of cards that you can create. Right, so now I'm going to go and undo all of that quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the full process of creating a game that has matching pictures. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose to create a game with related cards with matching pictures like this. Okay, now there's another button here that I haven't shown you yet, and that's this button over here. So all the other times I was using buttons that appeared here to add my pictures, but you'll see this button over here has add all pictures on it. You can use this button to add all of the pictures straight after each other. You'll be told each time which pictures you're going to be adding, so you know what to go and look for, and then you can go and find them and you can insert them. So in this case, I'm going to use this button and it'll just take me through all of them, and I can just add them without having to return to the slideshow every time and then click on another button to add more pictures. So I'm going to go and click over here. So because I'm doing picture in picture, I'm going to be asked to add 2 sets of pictures for my cards. And then it'll also give me a chance to choose if I want to add a picture for my card back, which we haven't talked about yet, and a picture for my reinforcement message, which we also haven't talked about yet. So before we do that, I just want to quickly show you over here. These over here allow you to customize the way that your cards will look. So you can change the formatting of these if you want to. You can change the colors. You can change, if you're doing text, you can change on these ones over here, whichever ones have text. You can change the font, the color of the font, the size of the font, and so on. You can change the background color. You can fill it with an image if you want to. For the card backs, because I anticipate that you usually would want to have a picture for your card back, I have made it so that you can add a picture straight away and it will make that picture your card back. Okay, so that's what this over here is about. But when you click on the add all pictures, it will give you a chance to go and find your picture for your card back if you want to. You can choose not to if you don't want to. And then for your reinforcement message, this is the message that pops up every time the players get a correct match. Then this message pops up to show them that they got a match and showing them which 2 cards they got that were matching. Okay, so you can add a picture as the background for this reinforcement message if you want to. Also, using this button, you can do that all together with the other pictures you're adding, or you can use this button to add it on its own. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use this button, and then I'm going to add all the pictures straight after each other. So first, it tells me that I'm going to find it, that I need to find and insert my card A pictures. So I'm going to go okay. Then I'm going to go and find the pictures that I want to use for card A. So I'm going to use these pictures over here. Then it says, and you can see that those have been inserted over there. Then it says I need to find and insert my card B pictures. So okay, I'm going to go and do that. So I'm going to go and choose the symbols like that. Now it says, do I wish to insert a card back picture? I can choose yes or no. If I choose yes, then it will bring this up and I can go and find the picture that I want to use for my card back. So I'm going to use this picture for my card back. Now, if I decide after I clicked yes, I don't want to, I can just click cancel and it will go on to the next thing and it won't do anything with a card back. But I'm going to use this picture over here, and you can see that it gets put in there as my card back. Then it asks, do you wish to insert a reinforcement message picture, background picture? So that's the background of this message over here. So yes, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use this one over here. Sometimes I would use that, or I could use any other frame or something like that. I'm going to use this one over here. I recommend using something that has a fill. If it is transparent, you can fill the picture with a color, but I recommend it's just easier if it already is filled. So I'm going to use this over here, and you can see that that has now been put in over there. And now I've finished adding all of my pictures. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could have added these all separately using the separate buttons over here as well. Now, once I've done that, I can also still go and change the fill over here. I can make this, let's make that blue like that. So you can still go and format that if you want to by changing the full color and so on. I'm also going to change these over here. I'm going to make this one pink, and I'm going to make this one this green color over there. Oh, yeah. And then once I have changed what I want my card fronts to look like, now I'm going to go and generate my cards. And when I do that, it will use what I put in over there. So I'm going to go and generate my cards. So now it's taken the images that I had over there, and it's taken the formatting that I had over there, and it's combined it to give me my cards over here. So these are the cards that would be used in my game. Now, like I said, you can still go and add more cards if you want to once you've created these. Okay. Then, once you've created your cards, you can go and also check the formatting. If you have text, you can check the text is all fitting nicely, that it all looks the way you need it to. If there are issues, you can still go and format individual cards once they've been created over here. So if I wanted to, I could go and change this one to something else like that. Okay, I'm not going to, but I could have done that if I wanted to. Okay, so you can go and make changes to individual cards once you've created them. Once you're happy with how all of your cards look, then you need to go and generate your reinforcement messages. Before I do that, I just want to make sure that I'm happy with how this all looks over here. So I'm going to go and change this font to the font that I want to use. So I'm going to use this one over here. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to move it up a little bit. So you can move it around. You can change, you can make it bold. You can change the color of the text. You can do whatever you want to. Okay, so whatever you do on here is going to be pulled through into the reinforcement messages that are going to be created. Okay, so I have now formatted that. You don't do anything with these because these are just placeholders for where the actual cards will be put when the reinforcement messages are created. So now I'm going to go and generate my reinforcement messages with this button over here. And once it has done that, it then gives you this window over here asking you to compress the pictures. Now, if you are using very, very big pictures with high resolution, you'll see that you have the option at the top here, high fidelity, preserves quality of the original picture. Now, I don't recommend using this top option because that can cause your file size to be very big and that can slow down the game ultimately. So I don't recommend having higher than 330. You could even have lower than that if you wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend going higher than 330. Okay. So now that we've created our cards, we've created our reinforcement messages, we also need to go and make sure that we have the correct settings for the game that we're going to create. So over here you have options in terms of the levels that you're going to have in your game. You can choose to have up to 5 levels. If you don't want to have so many levels, you can just deselect them like that. Obviously you wouldn't create a game with no levels, but you get the idea. Okay, so then with each level you can also choose how many cards you want to have in the level. So the top number over here says how many cards there are, but if there are 6 cards, that means that there are 3 matching pairs. If there are 8 cards, that means that there are 4 matching pairs, and so on. So I can increase this, and there are set numbers that you can choose from. So you can't add other values that you aren't allowed to choose from. So you can choose any of the values that it goes through over here. Okay, so I'm just going to keep these as they are. The highest that you can go up to is 50. You can't go higher than 50 cards in a level. And just be aware that the higher the number of cards in the level, the longer it's going to take to generate the game when you actually do the generation, because there is a lot that has to be done, and the more cards there are, the more that has to be done. Okay, so once you have chosen the levels that you're going to be using, how many levels and so on, we're going to go and design what our game is actually going to look like. Okay, so these 4 slides over here are where you're going to design your actual game. So first of all, I'm going to choose a background for all of these slides. Now you can choose the same background for all of them. You can have different backgrounds for them. It's entirely up to you. So if I'm going to go and choose a background, we're going to select them and right click, and I'm going to go and format the background. And then I'm going to choose a picture or texture fill and insert from a file. And I'm going to use this picture over here. Okay, but now you can see on this first slide over here, I've got text and I've got that picture, and that's difficult to see because it's very busy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly insert a shape to cover the slide like this, and I'm just going to make that white and no outline, and then I'm going to increase the transparency just like that, so that the text, if I send this to the back, the text will be more visible over that. Okay, then I'm also going to go and change all of the fonts so they are something that I'm happy with. Okay, so whatever you want it to be, then if I make this fractions matching game, because that's the topic of my game. And you can go and check that you're happy with the instructions here. You can change the instructions if you want to. It is all editable text. You can change it if you need to. You can change any of the text over here if you want to. You can also change the appearance of these buttons if you want to. So if I want the fill for these buttons to be, say, let's make it pink, and I'm going to make the text purple. So then I'm going to use this kind of design for all of my buttons in the game. So I'm just going to copy this by doing Control-Shift-C. That'll copy the formatting of that button. Now I'm going to go on to the next slide, and I'm going to paste the formatting onto these buttons so that I have the exact same formatting. The only thing is I want this to have a smaller text so that it fits on the button. And then I don't want these to be called level 1, level 2, level 3, and so on. So I'm going to call this easy. This one is going, well, this is very easy. This one is going to be easy. This one is medium, difficult, and very difficult. Okay, so now I've got my level buttons that I'm going to be using. This I can also change to my font that I want, and I can make it bigger. So you can change things. I can also go over here and copy this, send it to the back so that it also is kind of hiding that background a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit more transparent. And now I'm happy with how my level slide looks. Now I'm going to go on to the actual game slide. So this is the game slide that will be used when a one-player game is happening. And this one is the one that will be used when a two-player game is happening. So when a one-player game is happening, all they will have is the cards on the slide, and they will have the back button and a new game button that allows them to start a new version of the game. If they have a two-player game going, then they will have the same back button and new game button, but they also have scoreboards where they can give themselves points. Okay, so first let's just go and format. So I'm going to go over here and Control-Shift-C to copy that formatting. If it's a Mac, I would imagine it's Command-Shift-C. Then I'm going to go over here, select those, Control-Shift-V, and I'm just going to make this text a little bit smaller over here, like that. And then I'm going to go and do the same thing over here. And then this over here, I also want to have the same as that, but they both need to be much smaller, like that. Okay, then I'm also going to go and change the formatting of these. Now, what I want to do is, you can just change the background color. You can also change the font if you want to. So if I make this that font, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it fits onto the squares. And then I'm going to go and fill this with a picture. Now, like I said, you can just change the color if you want to, or you can leave it as it is if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going to go and insert a picture for my background for those squares over there, for the scoreboards. And I'm going to use this chalkboard style over there. So once you have got that all looking how you want it, so I'm just going to change this as well quickly. Okay, so once you've got the design all looking how you want it, and you're happy with the design of your game, you're happy with how everything looks, then you're going to go over here and you're going to generate your game. So to generate your game, you need to go and start the slideshow again and click on the button to generate. Now, while it's busy generating, a lot is going to be happening. So let me just quickly talk you through what is actually happening here. So first of all, new slides are being added that are going to be used for the actual game. The cards and the reinforcement messages are being put onto the slides. Everything is being animated, and the links are being created to move between the slides. While this is happening, your computer is doing an enormous amount of work, and because of that, it can take a fairly long time to complete. So just please be patient while your game is being generated. Once you have finished generating your game, you need to then go and save it. To save it, you need to not just save like normal. You need to rather press Ctrl, Shift, and S to save. And when you do that, it will bring up a Save As window. So you're going to choose the file type PowerPoint Show. And when you do that, a message will pop up asking if you want to save it as a macro-free presentation. And you need to click Yes. Now the reason for this is because the game works entirely with animations. It does not use any macros. So we can remove the macros so that when you are letting somebody else use the game, they won't have to worry about macros. They can just click on the file. It will open automatically in slideshow mode because it has been saved as a PowerPoint show, and then they'll be able to start playing straight away. They won't have to worry about macros at all. Then also, when you are saving it, I recommend saving it with a password that prevents people from editing it, and I will show you how to do that as well. I have put in something to try and help to protect clip art and so on for when you're creating your game to sell, but make sure that you're only using clip art that you're allowed to use as movable pieces, because it's not a perfect protection. I've done what I can, but I can't protect it perfectly because the images have to be as separate things so that they can be used for animations on the cards and so on. So you need to make sure that the clip art you're using can be used as movable pieces. Okay, so our game has now finished generating, so you can go through it quickly and just check that you're happy with everything, and just to familiarize yourself with how it works. So if you go and start the slideshow, then they can choose to play a 1-player game or a 2-player game. If they choose a 1-player game, they get brought to this over here where they can then choose what level they want. So if they just choose very easy, then this is how the game works. First of all, they click on 2 cards, and if they match, then a reinforcement message will be shown to them. If it doesn't, they need to turn those cards back over and then try again. So over here, I'm trying again. Okay, so now they still don't match, but this time I had a match over there. So now it brings up this reinforcement message. When I click on it, those cards disappear along with the reinforcement message. Then I'm going to go and try again. So over here, I've got a match again, and then over here, I've got a match again. Okay, now once they've finished this game, they can go and start a new game by clicking on this one, which will start a new game for the same level. When the game was created, 3 versions of each level were created. So they can play this level 3 times, and each time the cards will be different. If they try playing a new game again after the 3rd time, it'll take them back to the first version again. Okay, so let me just show you. These cards over here are different to the ones that we had previously. So those match over there. And there, like that. Okay, and once again you can start a new game, and once again these are different cards to what we had in the previous 2 versions. Okay, but if I click on new game again, it will now take me back to the same game that I played the first time round. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and it allows me to choose a different level, or I can go back again and it'll allow me to choose a 2-player game if I want to. So let's just see what that looks like. So if I go over here, very easy again, then when I click on these, you'll see that they are different to what I had in the previous one. So if the first player got a match, then they can go and give themselves a point like that. Then they go again. So now it's player 2's turn, so they go over here and they get a match like that. So now they give themselves a point, and then they get the last 2 over here as well, and so they get another point, and so player 2 wins. Okay, so that's how the player 2 game works. Now, obviously, if you choose a higher level, in this case, I chose the highest level to have 20 cards. This is what it's going to look like. If you chose to have more cards than that, then the cards will be obviously much smaller and the game will be much more difficult. Okay, but again, like I said, the more cards you have, the longer it will take to actually generate the game. Okay, so now we're going to go and save our game. To save my game, I can go File, Save As, and then I'm going to go and Browse, and then I will save it to wherever I want it to be. So I can call this Fractions Matching Game, and I'm going to choose PowerPoint Show, which is this one over here, PPSX. Now remember, choosing PowerPoint Show means that it's going to remove the macros from the file, and whoever is using the game will just be playing the game with the animations. They won't have any macros to worry about. Then I also said I recommend saving it with a password. So I'm going to go over here, Tools, General Options, and then I'm going to go and put in a password not to open. We don't want them to have a problem opening the file. We just want them to have a problem modifying the file. So if they try and open the file in PowerPoint into editing mode, then they will have to put in a password. So this is going, I will just choose something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go and click OK. I need to confirm it. And now when I save it, it's going to bring up a message asking if I want to save it without the macros. And I'm going to click yes. I do want to save it as a macro-free presentation. Okay, so now when I go and close this, you can see over here, my file that I just saved is over there. If I go and click on it, it opens automatically into presentation mode. So it doesn't take it into editing mode. It takes it straight to presentation mode, and it can be played straight away. If somebody does try to open it from within PowerPoint, which is possible, so you can go and open PowerPoint and open it from here. Or you can go Control Open and open it as a file from within PowerPoint like this. Now you can see that it brings up this thing where it wants me to put in a password. And if I don't put in a password, if I don't know the password, I can click on Read Only and it will take me into here, but I can't do anything on this file. So people wouldn't be able to copy anything. They won't be able to get any of the clip art. But like I said, the safety that I've put onto here isn't perfect. If this file is opened in Google Slides or in another presentation program, they do not support this particular format of password. So the file will just open. If I open this in Google Slides, it will just open and people will be able to access everything. So that's why I said the protection isn't perfect. It works for PowerPoint specifically, but it doesn't work for other presentation platforms. So that's why I said you still need to make sure that your clip art that you're using, you're allowed to use as movable pieces. And that is how you use the matching game generator to create your own custom matching games in PowerPoint. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Goodbye.